Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Talk About It. A podcast gives a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. Today is part 5 of my story. We last left off me getting married for the first time. Before I start off with that, I remember back in the day, my grandmother used to tell me this saying that I never understood it until now. And maybe some of you will get it, some of you may not get it. Now, she told me when people tell a story, right? Everyone has a villain in their story, but also depends who's telling the story. Is it the person telling it or is it the villain? And now I know what that means now. So let's kick off right here, part 5. Now, part 5, I was 25 years old and I said I was just about to get married. You know, my I met Jane, she was snack, we dated, and she got pregnant. So we decided to get married when she was 6 months pregnant. Very quick wedding. No matter of fact, I think we planned it out. I think it was like she was like 3 months or something like that. So I was living in an apartment in downtown Philly. And I left the apartment and moved in with her parents over in Jersey. Uh, her parents, her father and mother. Now, when I first really met them, you know, mom was her mom was a great woman. She gave me open arms right when I met her. Great, sweet woman. Her dad, her dad Richie, he was a ball buster. Yeah, he was a ball buster, but he was probably the best man I've known. Very, 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 very good dude. Very, very good dude. I'll touch on him more later on. So we finally get married in July. You know, my mother was there, my grandmother, my aunt, her family. Got married in I think it was like one of those beer halls, the PFWs beer halls, what it is. Uh, you know, and it was in Pensacola, New Jersey. And no, good wedding. Put together last minute. She did a great job putting together everything last minute. And we got married. At the time she was carrying our son. She was 6 months pregnant. Uh, Good event. And I think right when I had my mother, the mother son dance. You know, my mom, you know, she told me something on the mother son dance that I'll never forget. She says to me, "The time I told you that I regretted you." I was like, "Yeah, mom, I know." She said, "I didn't mean it. I did not mean regretting you. Didn't mean it at all. I just want a daughter." So, I was like, I guess that was her way of apologizing that she regretted I was born. She really wanted a little girl, but that was her way of saying it. So, we went to the whole wedding, we got married, and went on the honeymoon, Atlantic City, stuff like that. So we got back and we moved into a house that she already had. Her father got her a house back in the day in Gloucester City. So, we lived there. And in the beginning, I tell you the truth, man, it was a struggle. It was a real big time struggle. I worked in a bakery over there in Jersey. She didn't work. Um, you know, waiting for our child to be born, and it was a really, really big struggle. I was a baker So I was going back and forth, yada yada yada, until the day our son was born. But she had to be rushed to the hospital with him. Uh, we almost didn't have our little boy. His umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, so she had to have an emergency C-section, and it was crazy. Like, now he came out, he was born. I was like, wow, son. And at the time, right, I was a big fan of Beverly Hills 90210. You know, I thought the show was cool. I liked the show. It was a good show. This and that. I did like the show. So, you know, we just we had a discussion about names. I said, listen, I want to name this kid. You know, so I named him Brandon after my favorite character off of 90210. So Brandon was named after a character off of 90210, played by Jason Priestley. So, you know what? He looked at Brandon. If you see him today, yeah, he looked like a Brandon. So we went to the whole thing, young couple, young father, and you gotta really realize this. We were young, we really didn't we dated, but we didn't really know each other too much. So we started to get each other's habits, you know, brand new marriage, this and that. Getting married in your 20s, that's a big deal right there. So, I can tell you right now, like, but we were really struggling badly. Like, we were struggling badly, making ends meet, having hardly had food in the house, stuff like that. It was struggle. But I think, I mean, right, she was a good planner, especially with the paychecks and stuff like that. So it kind of like made us closer in a way in the beginning. So what I mean, like, so we're coming up. I think Brandon's being like around a couple years old, stuff like that. Being young couple, mother, father. I live in the same town as her parents, and they would babysit. We would, try and make ends meet. So her father gets me a job at his job at Miller Beer Company. I was a helper. I was a trucker's helper. Didn't know nothing about it, but I had good work ethic. So I was a helper on the beer truck, ride around with guys. Basically, I was their slave. I would stack the cases of beer, run it in for them, stack the kegs, run it in for them. This and that. I was a hustler, right? I mean, they all loved it. I mean, like, they all loved me. They wanted to take me out because I was a hard worker. So after and people used to bust my balls and bust my father-in-law's balls. Like, damn, man, you got a black grandson? He was a white dude. Father was a white guy. Man, like, yeah. I mean, he used to tell little jokes about, I mean, how would he own me and stuff like that. Whatever. But it is but he's not racist. I love that man. That man was the father I never had. He's a great man. He's a ball buster. He's a hard worker, a good overall man, a good man. So, I became that helper in at the Miller Lite Beer Company. So then after that, right, I was like, I mean, I remember this one time, I was with this guy Valentine. Back in the day, like, beer drivers, like, they used to drink at the bar, like, and deliver. Like, can't do this shit anymore. This was like prior to the CDL license thing. So he used to get drunk sometimes to where he couldn't drive us back. So I had to figure out how to drive the truck back. So I'm up here or drive the truck to every delivery spot so he could drink at every bar. That's what he did. It's crazy, right? I mean, like, I'm delivering, driving, picking his old ass up, put him in the trunk, put him on the passenger side so he can just keep on drinking at every bar I'm delivering. This happened for fucking like a month. So then towards the end of that summer, I decided to go out and get my CDL license. I failed the first 2 times, but I finally got the third time. I was like, wow, done. I got CDL. I'm good. I'm straight. Okay, man, I can get the job there in Miller. So I came back to Miller. I said, look, I got my license. So, okay, cool. So I became a driver for a week because it was about to be fall time, and that's when they started laying off everybody. So I got laid off. I got laid off. Finally got my CDL and I get laid off. I got my Class B. I got to drive a straight truck. So then after that, at the time, like my wife at the time, she would help me try and find jobs, stuff like that. So we finally found this job at this job, Philly Foods, some reject company, just to get more experience and stuff like that. And then you know what? Times are getting rough again. And yeah, I was the most honest guy. I was selling chicken on side in the back of the truck to make ends meet to support the family, right? Doing all type of eyeball shit, supporting the family. It was sometimes, she actually came with me on the truck. So it was kind of fun. And then I get the big call. I applied for Coca-Cola in Philly. And they gave me the job. I was like, yo, I'm straight. I'm ready to go. I got a job at Coca-Cola. I'm great. I mean, man, that's like big time, right? Making good money, benefits, all type of stuff, right? I'm ready to go. I'm straight. So, I mean, right, we still live at the house in Gloucester. And like, I didn't want to be there. I want us to move away, to be away, go whatever. She couldn't wait to move away from her family. She didn't want to. She didn't want to at all. She didn't want to move away from her family. So, I was like, oh shit. All right, well, I didn't want to live in the same town. So we fought about it. So I was like, listen, let's go out and let's get our own house. So we started house shopping. That didn't go too well. Then she knew somebody that was like a realtor builder, whatever it was. So we saw this land in this little town called Magnolia. Coincidentally, my grandmother lived in Magnolia, but on the other side of Magnolia. And it was like little land there and stuff like that. So I asked my grandmother, can I get like some money to like put the deposit on the land? It's like around $4,000, right? So she gave me the money, and guess what? We're getting a house built from ground up, brand new, ground up. I'm like, okay, I'm finally responsible, this and that, yada yada, right? Junior, my oldest son, he will come over on the weekends. Him and Brandon start bonding, start like coming up. Brandon was like the little brother of Junior. Like, he would play little video games. He would watch him play video games. They had this bond. Like, Brandon loved to be around Junior. And so we're coming up as a family. Like, we're doing like little day trips and little weekends and stuff like that. But at the same time, as the house getting built, we moved out of the old house to live with her parents to save up money. We lived in the basement for like 9 months. That was a lot right there. Now living in a parents' basement, for 9 months, but they was cool about it. Very, very supportive. So as we come along, right, the house is finally built, we're getting a house, this and that, kids are getting older. And then and then we finally get the house, brand new house, 2 stories, living room, dining room, family room, 2.5 bath, 3 bedrooms, full finished basement. So working Coca-Cola, nice town, nice school system for Brandon. And right? And Junior will come over on the weekends. So then like that, right? Then we started doing like family stuff, going here, going there, whatever. So we just being a family, right? But we was really, really pretty good with that. But we got comfortable, I guess. I got comfortable. Throughout the years, going on trips to Disney and a cruise together and all type of stuff. We did all this stuff. And we just did family things, but we was just a family. We was a very good team as a family. I guess you might call it like business like or whatever. So Then after that, I mean, so we decided to have our second child together. Uh, and when she was pregnant with our second child, we thought he was a boy, but surprise, surprise, it was a little girl. you know, Jules. When Jules was born, like I call her Pumpkin now. I mean, because her head was shaped like a pumpkin. Little baby girl. So, so now I got my young man. My oldest son comes over on weekends. I got my little baby girl. So now you're wondering what happened to Sherelle. Sherelle and her mom disappeared again. Don't know what happened to him. Don't know where it was at. Don't know where it was at. Now this time I did try to find him. Could not find him. We did not know where he was at. I give Jane credit. She helped me try to find him. We could not find her. So at this point, right, the kids are growing up. Like nobody know we're doing more and more family things. And again, like me and my wife at the time, we was good partners. Partners for family. I mean, we was a very, very good family. Like we was like the most popular family in that little small town. Everybody knew us, like we involved ourselves in a lot of activities, a lot of this and that. I mean, it got to the point where we was running the local little league. I was president of the league, first black president, even before Barack Obama at the time. And she was the president of the auxiliary. And we was a good team. To where I think we just both were in that mood. I don't know about her, but me, I was more in that mood. Going to work, coming home, going on family vacations, being there for the kids. It was all about the kids, right? It was all about the kids. And now I think back now, we didn't do too much for each other. Date nights was basic, which we really didn't do that many of them. But overall, I think we was a very good family at the time, especially for the kids. Everything was about the kids. Christmases, trips, everything. Everything was about the kids, the kids, the kids. Overall, we was married for like 12 years. But towards the end, of it, we started to get into a really big routine. Like I was in that routine. Like to where, okay, we would try and have many conversations about this, many conversations about that. Didn't have that many conversations with each other. So it was to the point where, okay, right, as the boys are getting older, Jewel was getting older, we had full finished basement. I come home from work and I would go downstairs to my part of the basement, watch TV and movies or whatever. The boys were in the other room playing video games, and she was upstairs with our daughter. She would make dinner, and it was the point where she would have to flick on the light on and off from top of the steps to tell us that, dinner was ready. And we go get our food, come back downstairs. Not having dinner at the table and all that stuff. Kind of regret that. But overall, we was very good to our kids. And it's one thing I have to give her credit for. Junior wasn't her son. But her mom and dad treated him like they were like he was theirs. Like her parents treated my son, like they were the grandkid. She treated Junior like that was her son. So I would always be grateful for that. Always. And I appreciate her for treating Lewis as her son as well. I understand she had 2 kids of her own. You know what I mean? But she did a good job of trying to plan everything as a family. Like she was a good planner as a family person. She's always been a good planner. Me, I was just a guy who just went out to work, came home, did what I had to do. I was involved a lot with Brandon's baseball. I got obsessed with it. It was all about Brandon's baseball. Brandon's baseball. He was getting good at it. You know, you know, made up my own travel ball team for him. Did everything for this kid because he had, he was very good at. He was very good at it. Now I see now that I think and I was pushing him a lot in baseball, a lot, give him training, all type of stuff like that, to where I was too much focused on Brandon and not enough on Junior and Jules. Even though she was my little girl, she's my pumpkin, but then it was taken away from Sherelle, from Sherelle as well. So here we go. So I'm trying to learn how to be a father, but I'm doing everything wrong. You know what I mean? Now I think about it, right? I'm thinking I'm doing all the right things, family guy, going to work, coming home, this and that. But maybe at the time I wasn't being a good husband, or a good father. So it just went about that. You know what I mean? Right. Because after so many years, you reflect on all that stuff. Yeah, when we had arguments, we wasn't on the same page. We didn't have conversations. Well, we was young too. And we actually was growing with each other to learn about each other, you know? With the whole family thing. But the one thing I will tell you, we was a good family for our kids. So then as years went on and, trips and being there and doing what we got to do for our family, big Christmases, everything like that, gatherings, being around people, it started getting strange. You know what I mean? Like everything started to go down. We really didn't talk that much as a couple. I'm just telling you my side. We didn't talk that much as a couple. And I think that's on both of us right there. That's just my opinion. It's on both of us. I could have did more and not be stuck in the basement all the time, trying to isolate myself, having my what I call downtime from working so much and this and that. I should have, as much as I put time and effort in trying to make a family work, I should try and did that for the overall with my marriage. I learned that now. I'm just admitting mine. I don't know how she feels. I think, as years went on, it started to hit roadblocks. And I think the first major roadblock, the most painful one for me personally, like dealing with my mom. Throughout the years, my mom she started to come around. She started to be like more, more around the kids and more around us a little bit more as a family, accepting my life now. Because she was always on board with me being married, and to my wife at the time. She wasn't always on board, but then she started softening up. She started to interacting with us more. And I remember, back in 2007, she started to spend a lot more time with my kids. From my youngest daughter to Junior a lot. She's always with Junior, because she loved Junior a lot. And she started spending time with Brandon a lot more. And that was a great thing. So then the March 2007, the Sunday night, give my mom a call. Hey, mom, what's going on? Her exact words was, Lewis, I'm not feeling too well right now. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I said, okay, mom, no problem. Went to work the next day, didn't think nothing about it. And I was like, okay, something ain't right. Something just tells me something's not right, right? Something's telling me it's not right. So I was like, I called the wife at the time. I was like, listen, man, after work, I'm gonna go over there, check up on her. So I go over there. I got the keys to the house and stuff like that. I walk in and say, "Mom, mom," and I go upstairs and I see my mom on her side, and she was gone. Uh, my mom, she she died of sleep. Um, I called 911. They got there. She was already gone, and she was gone. No, my wife at the time, my father-in-law came over. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. Uh, she she uh she died of sleep the night before, and it's always bothered me that I was the last person that found that talked to her. I was the first person to find her. I don't understand that. I went to some shit like I just went through it. Like my mom's gone. The ups and downs my mom and I had. She was 55. I was 35 or 34. Didn't understand it. She's 55, right? I'm 52 now. And it killed me. Like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. When I found her, I screamed, "Mama!" I was that's right. Um, I screamed, "Mama!" She was gone, right? So they came and got her, and then we planned a funeral a week later. You could have swore she was like the president of the United States or something. It was like it was like seemed like 1,000 people there. My mom knew a lot of people. She's well loved, and I'm so appreciative that all the people came out to her funeral. What's crazy is she just went to the doctor the Friday before she passed, right, to get some work done because she knew something was wrong. So a week and a half later, her test results come back. I got the test results. She had heart disease, and she didn't know. So she died of heart disease. She didn't know. So I had to take off work for a little bit. You know, didn't talk that much. Didn't talk to my wife at the time. Didn't talk to a lot of people. But a lot of people got to realize, and now I understand that. I understand way more than before. Everybody's worried about me, but what about my grandmother? No matter how old you are, she lost her child. She lost her child. My grandmother was never the same again. Never, never same. Um, I'm sorry. Um, so I went back to work. I worked, and everything just started changing. I just shut down. I became a different person a little bit. Me and my wife at the time, we just was just doing things for kids. I don't think it was even about us anymore. And I shut away. So as I was going on the routine, you know, I get a call from my father. He says that I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry too. So at the time, we had a trip planned to go on a cruise. Like a few months after my mother died, we had a trip to go on a cruise in Florida, like a Disney cruise, the whole family. Me, the, the wife, and the three kids. Um, we on Disney cruise, a good time. But before that, we stopped by my father's and we had lunch with him. You know, we played football. They just back that in Georgia. We played football in the backyard, with the boys, and he did a little bit of it, but he was just taken in by my little girl, Jewel. I wish he could have taken in by my oldest, but that didn't work out. But she loved my little girl. He loved Jules. She's sweet and innocent. He took her into her, and I guess he fell in love with her. Then a few months later, my brother got married, and she was my daughter was the flower girl at his wedding. He fell in love with her again. He fed her. He was doing all type of stuff, cutting her food up. This and that. He fell in love with that little girl. The boys were there. We went to my brother's wedding. He had a great wedding with Jane. Then a couple months later, me and my wife at the time, we was at a party, I guess not party, we was watching Eagles game at a friend's of ours house. And she got a phone call from my brother. And she came and told me that my father passed away. Now, I didn't know what to say. This is a year after my mom passed away. And man, my father wasn't that close anyway, but still, he was my father. So in last year, the year before, I lost my mother. Then the next year, I lost my father. Two parents, back to back. And I'm going through it. Uh, you know, we was planning on another vacation anyway. We planned on another vacation, and they dropped me off on the way down to Florida. We was going down to Disney. Whole family, her family, my family, and I went to my father's funeral. And I'm sitting there. What the fuck? I think he passed away of prostate cancer. I think. This is like back to back years. I lost two parents. So my mind's going crazy, right? Going crazy. Uh, as the time goes on, I'm working and, we are just, at this time, I think we was just there. We were just husband and wife for the family. Not really talking, arguing about certain things or whatever. Then a year later, I'm checking on my grandmother. She's like, she's not the same. We're trying to keep her happy and this and that, but she just wasn't the same. She lost her daughter. So, she got put in the hospital. She got put in the hospital. She was sick. And it's the woman who practically raised me. And I went to go see her one day. And she looked so happy. So happy. She looked so happy, because she was sick for like a couple months. But when I saw her in the hospital, she was so happy. And that was the first time in my life I had a parent tell me it was proud of me. I wanted to hear from my mother. I wanted to hear from my father. I didn't hear from them. I wanted to hear it from my wife at the time. I didn't hear from her either. My grandmother said it, and she had a smile on her face. And I waited so long to hear those words that somebody is happy for me and proud of me. I waited so long. I said, Grandma, I love you. She said, I love you. That's the first time right there that a parent has said, I love you. I didn't hear it from my mother. I didn't hear it from my father. I heard it from my grandmother. Because it's the first time she really said it. I can remember. You know, no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I remember, and this is crazy how way you remember this. I think I was like 3 or 4 years old. I think the only time I ever heard I love you. My mom was tucking me in the bed. I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I never felt so safe. And she kissed me. And I think she said, I love you. In a little voice, I love you, mommy. Right? I think that was the only time she said it. And then years later, I'm visiting my grandmother hospital. She says how proud of me she is and she loves me. So I said, okay, Granny, I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. So I'm out and about. I get a phone call. The next day, my grandmother passed away. So in 3 years, I lost my mother, my father, and my grandmother. The back years, right? And they say, sorry, that happened in threes. And that was a real tough time for me. And I felt alone, abandoned. I felt nobody was there. It was a tough time. It was dark. I worked. I snapped on people, snapped on the wife at the time. Felt like she wasn't there for me. She didn't understand. Till one day, I met someone, at the baseball field. My son was playing baseball, and we just had a conversation. We just got into a conversation. And she asked me what's wrong. I told her, and that was the first time I felt like somebody was listening to me. Somebody was listening to me, and we talked and talked and talked. Probably snuck around having conversations with her over the next year. There's one thing I do want to say. One thing I thought about years ago, even now. I should have had these conversations with my wife at the time, which I will say I did not do a good job of trying to do that. I fell into a trap, which a lot of men say they fall into. You know, um, she was there. So one night, me and my wife at the time had a big fight, and I went over there just to talk, and I had an affair. And at the time, I didn't care. You know, it was wrong. It was wrong. Now it was wrong. At the time, I didn't see nothing wrong with it. It was a mistake. and it got out around town. It was an embarrassment. You know, my wife at the time tried to hide it from the kids and keep it away, but kids find out everything. We even tried to work it out, and she tried to forgive me, but then me being stupid, and and we got separated and we divorced. I know that I will take the majority of ownership for my failed marriage. You know, it was something that should not have been done, no matter what circumstances it is. I realized that now. I realized that a couple years ago. It was not fun. And then you probably saying, okay, damn, how many times this guy will cheat, right? This is a situation that it was wrong. You know, we had a marriage for 12 years. I lost 3 people. I didn't know what to do. I can't use that as an excuse because it was wrong either way. It was wrong. Going through all these emotions and this and that. Plus, at the same time, right, I lost my job at Coca-Cola. I lost it by making a stupid decision about transferring the sales, and then they got rid of that sales department. So I already lost my job. I lost 3 people back to back to back years. And to top it all off, I had to put down our dog that we had for like 8 years. The kids love the dog. But you know how it is putting down a dog. It's tough too. And then we had to own up. We had to go our separate ways. Jewel was too young. Junior didn't really know. And that was the same time, right? Him and I got into it. Me and him, his mom got into it. And Junior was like angry at me for me acting like a fool at that time as well, act like a fool. Yelling at him, saying stupid shit to him for some stupid reason. I can't fucking remember. So he was older. He was 17 going 18 at the time. He didn't want to deal with it. He stepped away. And I don't blame him because of my stupidity. Everything started just going rock bottom. Then I had to, the kids took it hard, losing their parents. Jewel was young, but Brandon took it the hardest. He took it real hard. I remember when I told him, he said, why? I said, it's my fault. Jewel didn't understand. She was young. And we ended a 12-year marriage where our kids were happy. They didn't see it. They didn't know what was going on between their mother and myself. It was harmful. I would take my share of it because that right there ended our marriage, that affair. It ended it. Maybe we could have worked it out other ways with the kids. I mean, counseling, whatever, but my stupidity hurt my kids, all of them, again. It took me a long time to take that in. We're all not innocent in this world. Some people are. Some people got the whole fake book thing where their life is fucking perfect. My life was not perfect. But I learned from it. There's one thing I can honestly say. I couldn't have the best mom to my 2 youngest kids than Jay. We may not agree on a lot of things. but you couldn't have the better mother to those two kids. And she was a great stepmom to Junior. You know, I'm going to wrap it up there. Because at the next one, I'm moving out. I just turned 40, and everything just changed from there. The 40s. The 40s changed my life, and that path has shaped me to the man I am today, to where I've learned and reconciled with everything I've done. My 40s was crazy. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out, sharing this journey with me. Like and subscribe to the podcast. We got good episodes coming out. Everybody have a great week, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Make sure you be looking out for episode 6. Everybody have a good day.